They've put up with it for 20 years. Wow. Good kids. Is God in the blueprints of your building? Is he in the plans, the design stage, the foundation, the building itself? Your children are the results. Your children are the final results. And what other people see, they will know what kind of man you are. Let's go to another one. It's too quiet in here. I want more laughter. Let's have a little more laughter. Y'all remember Mother's Day, don't you? Women were getting up. I hope he preaches like he did on Mother's Day. It's the 2 times a year you got to do it. Well, Luke chapter 14, 2 verses here, 28 through 30. For which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it will begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build, but was not able to finish. Now that's a physical building. We're making this a spiritual application, but here it is. Failure, a man's worst fear. Failure is a man's worst fear. Now, this may not be true of everybody, all men in this room. Not everybody, but men in particular. Failure may not be your number one fear, but I'm going to tell you, if you sit down and took an inventory of your life and put down your priorities and put down on another side of that piece of paper, what is my biggest fears? And you list your top 3, failure is going to be one of the 3, I'm guessing, for most men. If you're, I don't know, I'm saying if you're normal, if you're like me. So that would leave out normal, but I don't like failure. Failure actually makes me sick at my stomach. And I try to live with a motto of permission to fail to our staff. We try things and we say, if it doesn't work, we won't do that again. But I don't mind trying something because, see, at least I'm trying. Failure isn't failing if you just get up and get going again. I don't mind that. In fact, I kind of like to think, I think it's better to have tried and failed than not to try at all. So what's my definition of failure? Not even trying. That's my definition of failure. I'd rather try and fail, but know I tried. And back up and say, we're going to have to do that. I used to say to people, well, let's run it up the flagpole and see if anybody salutes. That was just a goofy way of saying, let's give it a whirl. What's the worst that can happen? I ain't talking about jumping off bridges to see if you can fly. The worst that can happen is bad. But I'm talking about in life, at least try. You know what I think? Some fathers, and I mean biological, you understand the difference there. Biologically, about any 16-year-old can father a child. I'm talking about being a father. They're so afraid of messing up that they don't try anything. They just don't try anything, and then that constitutes failure. Because you know why? We got to go back to work. They're good at work. And man, at work, that's the best thing in the world. In church, we got the same problem as you do at your house. You don't pay people. We have volunteers. If a volunteer doesn't perform, what you going to do? Fire them? They beg for firing. You can't. You just got to get more volunteers to shore it up. But at work, oh man. I had another saying. I sign your check. I didn't. I never could read the guy's writing, but every one of them went through. So I don't know who he was, but his name must have ended in Pacific because I worked for Georgia Pacific. But I was 28 men. Every Thursday night, I filled out their time card. And they got paid based on my expectations and my analysis of their week's production. No, they got paid by the hour. I just wrote them down. But if they didn't meet my expectations, they weren't there the next week. That's how that works, see? And when people are getting paid, boy, you can say, look here, you either straighten up or hit the road, and I don't care really which one it is because I got people waiting to take your place. That's just the way it is. I like that better. In fact, maybe we ought to just start paying everybody about $2 a week, and I can fire some of you. That'd be a... Just kidding. But do you understand the difference? You see why men migrate to work as their life? Because it's so much more controlled. It's so much more structured. Even if you own a business, or even if you're a management level person, it's still somebody's always dictating how it has to be. And I worked for a guy in the oil field, and he of course, he wasn't a Christian, and he lied all the time. But every time he'd tell him to do something, they'd say, why? He'd say, it's a rule. Just like, and they didn't know all the rules. They didn't get the handbook either. And they'd say, oh. And they'd do whatever he told them. I'm like, that. His name, I don't know what his name was. We called him Red. I said, Red, that ain't no rule. What'd you tell him that for? He said, he don't know yet. And that's the way he worked people. It's a rule. And he said it with such confidence, they'd go do whatever. Man alive. See, work's better. So men like to go to work because they can excel. And they can come home and they say, at work, I'm a big guy, top dog. I'm important. Dad, can we play pitch? I ain't got time. I'm wore out from going to work. I'm going to sit in the recliner and tell your mama to bring me some iced tea. Way to go, Dad. That's bringing home work with you right there. I should quit. That's enough of that. Yeah. Oh, that's your daughter sitting there beside you, Bill. I see that. Does that touch anybody in this room? Does that remind any women of any man sitting beside you right now? Or that you're having to watch preach this sermon? We fail at the most important and excel at the thing that's going to be temporal. We was talking about retiring at 65 and walking out the door. You know what they're going to do? The day you retire, they're going to fold up shop. They're going to close the plant because you've thought all these years it couldn't work without you. Ha! They're going to pay somebody less money to work less hours and do the same job you did, and you're going home and they don't care. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. I love this story, too, because I don't have many good stories like this. The night I quit a particular drilling rig out in the ocean, we had to leave one day early, and they allowed that. I don't really even know why, because we had to go to another rig, me and this other boy named Ray Dotson. The night they put us down on the boat, they did not call us a helicopter, by the way. They called us a boat to come get us. They put us down on that boat, and that rig was dead quiet. It was not running because what I fixed broke. And I pulled away with them up there. The higher-ups were having to go down and work on it because I wasn't there. And I looked at Ray, and I said, I have a strange sense of satisfaction that they needed me. It didn't last long. They were running again in a couple of hours, and I was on another drilling rig. Got laid off from that one.